Welcome to the webinar series, Achieving Your Optimal Health. And, and tonight we have a panel discussion. And what we're going to do is, since the coronavirus is on so many people's minds, as my team came on board today, a number of them were just exhausted from having to deal with this in their lives and with their clients and all the preparation. It seems like that's the subject of the day. So we were going to focus on getting your body into condition for an active summer. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on what precautions you can take in order to protect yourself from the coronavirus, and the whole idea of what is true and what's maybe hype. We want to go into this realistically. And so what I'd like to do is first just introduce each of our panel and ask the one question to start out with. When I introduce you, if you could just say, this is where my profession and what I do on a daily basis might be impacted by coronavirus, or fear of coronavirus, or protection from coronavirus. So I'm going to start with Denise Tropia, and go ahead, and she's a doctor of podiatry and has been so for about 30 years, and just recently in the past few years moved into more of an alternative wellness profession. And so Denise, how is coronavirus impacting your practice?
Well, I'm still in medicine, where I'm in a clinic. I'm no longer in private practice, but in a clinic. So now, yes, there is a lot of education that we're dispensing out to patients, dispelling a lot of the fears of what's going on. And so I am still in the patient-doctor atmosphere. I would say that from a standpoint, if I was still in my private practice, I think it would probably scare people away, and they're not wanting to go to the doctor in a sense, unless they really had to. So that's a possibility. I'm at a clinic now and they come in droves, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I could see where a lot of it can be a problem. Also, we get a lot of our supplies from China, and when things are shut down from a medical standpoint, those certain supplies may become scarce that are very necessary for everyday medical practice.
Okay, excellent. So you can see you're being impacted, and you were one of the ones that came on board just a while ago here in this webinar, exhausted. Now, another exhausted person was Holly McClanahan, and you've been dealing with this also, Holly, today, and it's been sort of exhausting for you. Just tell me how this is impacting you.
Well, I do have my own practice, but I also work part-time as an infusion nurse with nutritional IVs. And so we're seeing an increase in patients getting nutritional IVs to boost their immune system. So they're not coming in sick, they're coming in as preventive, but it's more business, and and it's actually good that they're doing this. I'm happy to see people doing this. But one of the other things in my other practice in the area I'm in is that people are like wearing, gloves and masks. But the mask situation for me it's kind of odd, because you get it from you're touching it somewhere and then touching your face. Well, when you have a mask on, a lot of people that have a mask on are always adjusting it and putting their hands on their face. And I'm like, just go wash your hands. As a nurse, I wash my hands so many times a day. It's
Mhm.
crazy when I think that people don't wash their hands frequently anyway. But I'm just, my advice to people is like wash your hands all the time. And 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 I'm seeing, that they're touching their face a lot. And if you're touching your
Mhm.
face a lot, if you're exposed to that virus, you're going to be touching your face, and that's how it's going to enter your system. Masks don't really protect you as much as they are saying they do, because you're always touching your face.
Mhm. Okay, very good. And Michelle, um, she came on and was saying how her family has been affected by the coronavirus. So why don't you share what you've experienced, Michelle?
Yeah, I actually had my daughter was part of a study abroad program in Milan. She's been there about 7 weeks, and she was supposed to be there until the middle of May. And as the cases grew more and more in numbers, more and more schools started pulling their kids out of the program and making them come home. Um, However, the people in Italy, the faculty at the school that she was at, the company that runs the program, did not feel like it was an urgent need to cancel classes. They felt like this is like the flu, and there aren't many cases in the city. They're mostly in an outside region that was north of the city. But because the cases were growing, they kind of had to react as the rest of the world was reacting, and do something drastic and protect the kids. I had mixed feelings because I felt like these things typically will last for a little while. When the weather changes, maybe it will resolve itself somehow. But I had to kind of go along with everyone. I could have left her there. She was armed with all kinds of supplements and essential oils and hand sanitizer and all of that. But when everyone else leaves, what good is it for her to stay? So we really kind of had to react as everyone else was, even if we didn't feel like it was necessarily as dire as they were saying. But that's
Okay.
media. You don't know what is media frenzy and what is
Mhm.
the reality. So
Okay, well, very good. So there are a lot of families that are being affected by this, and yours is one that's had this direct effect. And speaking of fear and emotional impact and spiritual impact, we have Annie Imprima Martin, who this is her area really is the spirit and the emotions. And how is coronavirus affecting uh, impacting your work, or how might it?
A little bit, because I diagnose, and I say that very cautiously because I'm not a medical professional or a psychiatrist, but I diagnose energy current from a science side. And so I'm touching individuals, I'm working with them very closely. And so I have seen a little bit of a decline in the booking right now because it is an intimate experience and an
Mhm.
intimate session with people. And so I'm seeing more people, even just out in public, wanting to do more of the elbow bumping or
Mhm.
the fist bumping instead of connecting.
Mhm.
And there's two concerns that I have with all of this is that, one, I'm such an advocate for physical connection. Connect, exchange those human touch like we would see in European or Middle Eastern countries where we are creating our natural antidepressants by supporting each other in the release of oxytocin and the endorphins. So now we have a reason to separate even more,
Mhm.
which then affects it, this over a longer period of time can affect mental illness and mental well-being and spiritual well-being. And then the other is that when we're in a state of fear, our energy constricts.
Mhm.
And when it constricts, we're more susceptible to injury and illness.
Oh, isn't
So
that
now there's
interesting?
something throwing fear on us.
Uh-huh.
And if we don't have the wisdom to not go into a state of panic or fear, we then start to magnetize and attract it like target fixation.
Okay. So we may be, by our fear of, and the things that we do because of our fear, we may be actually bringing on the thing we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, we invited in our front door.
Yes. Very interesting. Okay. And Gus, structural body therapist, you wouldn't think that there's much of a connection, and I'll go to myself after you, because you wouldn't think I would have much of a connection with this, but I can think of some connection. How could coronavirus, or the fear of coronavirus, affect your business, your practice?
Well, in terms of the business itself, we're not being impacted by it. We have booked out our clients far in advance their sessions, so they're coming in. No one's been canceling. But in terms of the health space, it's something we consider and have to give thought to the impact that it can have. One of the things in our motto is provide therapeutic services in a pleasant and healthy environment. Well, if you come in and your therapist is coughing all over you, or the client is coughing all over the therapist, right? That's not the most healthy of environments. So that is a concern. And we have we have things built in place. We have hospital grade filters for the air coming outside, and inside the rooms themselves, we have ionized air filters to help mitigate and help reduce. But it's still possible to get to get sick from client to therapist and vice versa. So we had our team meeting a few days ago, and we had a discussion about the different theories behind about why we get sick. It was between the germ theory, where you have this virus floating through the air, people infected by it, and when it lands on you, bing, guess what? You're sick. As opposed to, on the opposing side, was the terrain theory, which is these viruses and bacteria are all around us, are on us already. But when our defenses go down, when our health go down, we then get susceptible to sickness, right? So we were having a discussion about that, which is correct, which is relevant. We kind of agree that there's it must be a hybrid, because if my wife gets sick, I have no problems being there. I'm more of a terrain theory, right? And I like how Annie was saying that this coronavirus, when it comes to us, when we're hearing about it, it's coming from a place of fear, and the impact that it has on our emotion, the impact that it has on our health and our ability to our immune system, right? And it might potentially lower it. So when my wife is sick, I still spend time with her. I'm in the same room with her. I'm not concerned about getting sick, because that's where I come from. But I do notice that the more sick people are around me, I am more likely to get sick, right? So it makes me wonder which, it seems like it's a combination of the two. There's some sort of hybrid between the two, as we try to figure out how is it that we get sick, and how is it that we stay healthy. So we've had some good conversations in the last few days with the team.
Okay, very good. Okay, now, and from my standpoint, I've got basically two things that I would that would have to do with an impact. One of the things I do is the Las Vegas area trails and the running, and definitely that's totally, I see that as a pretty safe zone. You're out in the mountains, and you're not in contact with anyone really. So I won't mention that, other than just keeping up that regular conditioning is something that really helps a person to stay immune, but not increasing too rapidly. you exhaust yourself and you open yourself up to susceptibility. The place where I'd see more impact is the networking part of what I do, the business networking, where I'm in meetings uh, pretty often, where you shake hands and 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 you connect with people. That's part of networking. You've got 60 people in a room and you're connecting. And I'm not sure how this is going to change. I know, as Annie was saying, you may do the elbow um, touch for instead of handshaking, or maybe tap feet together or whatever. There are other ways to connect, and I'm just wondering how that will affect businesses that I work with on the marketing side of my business and networking. And also, as businesses, if it gets to a point where businesses are affected to the point where they're losing clients or they're getting less billable hours, that definitely affects marketing, because then people are just um, focusing on survival and making it through the next months. And so that could definitely affect my business. And I see it affecting other businesses too, if your clients are down. So we don't know what this holds, but and I think fear, we talk about the presence of fear, and sometimes fear bringing on the very thing we're trying to avoid. And that not only can be true of the body, but it can also be true of your business. And pulling back for fear, and having your clients pull back. And we get that going on in society to a large extent. And it could really bring us into recession. So it's very important that we manage that fear, and that we find ways to keep the personal connection upon which business relationships are built. And so those things are on my mind and in my awareness. So okay, another question that I would ask, and I like to go through our team and maybe open it up a little more. We'll start out with Denise, but when I say open it up a little more, feel free to ask Denise questions, to respond to things that you hear Denise saying, or thoughts that come up as she's speaking. But what I'd ask you, Denise, is what is the difference between hype and truth? We're hearing a whole lot of things about the coronavirus, and how can we prepare for this or other types of threats that are out there to our physical health? And what do you see as hype, and what is reality that we should really take seriously? And how do you tell the difference between the two?
Yes, those are very, very good questions, because there's just so much out there in which you're getting it from all different angles. And really, the way to go about it is to be educated, to get the reliable sources. And I would say the most, reliable ones will come from, the health district. I know with the CDC, it's very important to know what type of virus this is, and why people are getting sick, because of the fact that vast majority of us, our bodies have not seen this particular strain of the virus. And if our bodies had not seen it, then we are going to, if we get infected with it, we are going to get some sort of a flu bug of a severity that can be very mild, moderate to severe. And we are seeing it more severe in cases where people are older, like over 80, or people that have coexisting problems like diabetes, already have pulmonary issues, lung issues, and those are the ones that are possibly it becomes fatal. But it also is the same realm with the influenza as well, with the influenza viruses that we see every year. So it's finding a very close parallel, but the difference with this is, yes, the hype, the way it's blown out of the proportion, and it has a lot of infiltration coming in from different things, and then you see the conspiracy theories and the fact that there's pockets of areas that are getting it more than others, and why is that happening? It just goes on and on and on. But I think what we have to do is educate, ask the proper questions to either the healthcare providers that are adequately trained, because we know how viruses, bacteria, and different things are transmitted. And this is the same way like every other virus that is transmitted. There's no difference except the virus itself and the symptoms that you may get.
Okay, so I just open it up to anyone here. What do you suggest we do, or where do we consult in order to find the truth and separate between truth and hype, so that fear doesn't take control of us, but we are at the same time doing what we need to do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll say something about that.
Okay.
I don't know if you can ever really figure out the truth, because the media it's just very tricky. But I think you just have to be your own advocate for your own health. My daughter got off a plane coming from Milan, got off a plane in New York at JFK, and the only screening they did was to ask her if she had been to China or South Korea or Iran. And she said
Wow.
no, and they said, okay. So she came from Milan. They didn't check her temperature or ask about symptoms or anything like that. My husband called the CDC, and the person he spoke to was reading right from the same thing that my husband was looking at online.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he said, my daughter just came from Milan. And the woman said, Milan's not one of the countries affected. It's just Italy and China. And it's unbelievable that Milan is not a country, it's a city, and it is in Italy. So, my point is that you can't necessarily rely on all of that. I think you just have to, like everyone's saying, you clean your hands, you use caution, you don't shake hands with people, try to stay out of crowds, just like you would prevent any kind of virus. I'm sitting here in the house now with my daughter, and she's supposed to self-quarantine, which means she shouldn't be around people. I have another daughter with cystic fibrosis, which is a serious respiratory condition. So she's not allowed in my house now for the next 2 to 3 weeks, because I don't know if the other daughter is going to, if she actually has
Well,
something.
they're saying
So
now
I have to kind of just use
10 days
caution.
quarantine.
Go ahead, Denise.
They're saying 10 days quarantine.
Yeah. Okay. I heard 2 weeks, but yeah, I
Well,
think
that's what they said today, and but like I said, that can change. But I see, the concern is we want, and that is a big problem. You want to get answers, but what are your sources?
Right.
The sources can be very skewed. We don't know. We need to, like you said, take it into our own hands.
Yeah.
This is such an interesting period, because with all of the information we have on the internet, we still don't have consistent answers. That the incubation is 10 days. No, it's 14. No, it's 21. Oh, it can be 27. It can be 28. Like, how do we not understand this in a time where we can do things with technology and affect something across the country, across the world on the other side of the globe, and we don't even know the incubation period of a virus that has been around for a very long time?
That's interesting because we have a couple things happening at the same time. We have a situation in which we can get immediate answers by going to the internet. We've never had that before, until recent years, where you can go to the internet and you can get answers immediately. But then also the second aspect of this is anyone can post anything on the internet. And so you've got to discern between what is legitimate and what's just someone's opinion. So you get a lot of opinions posted there on the internet. And how do you wade through that? How do you discern between something that is legitimate and something that is not? And then we also have a situation to compound things even more, is that even the experts do not know entirely what is going on. They don't understand this virus entirely because it hasn't been fully studied. It's so new, and so even the experts are going to disagree at this point. So we are in a state of confusion, and confusion is one of the basic elements that breeds fear. And so, what do you guys suggest? Where can you go and how do you discern so that you know the difference between something that's legitimate and something that's just someone's opinion? And then when you're looking at two experts, how do you discern between, well, maybe this expert is reading from something that I can read on the internet at the same time, or they're quoting some legitimate research? I don't know.
Or even, there are things that are being posted on the internet that say, well, Dr. So-and-so worked in a laboratory that works with viruses all the time. And so this is an expert, listen to him. Well, now you've got to go research that person to see if that's a real person even,
Wow.
So, I mean, because this is how ridiculous it's getting, it's that the people these posts have to do with, they don't even know really who that person is. That I could say, well, I work in virology and I've worked with viruses and and who's going to question me on that,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they don't question even the source, even if it sounds official, but I'm looking at too, like, when you're angry, when you're and when you're fearful, your immune system goes down, just like you've eaten some sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar drops the immune system. So, okay, stay off sugar, stay out of a negative mindset. Those
Mm-hmm.
things are keeping the system boosted. There are lots of essential oils that you can use as a diffuser in your home or in your office that are air purifiers that actually help to boost the immune system. It's how you eat. A lot of people do not eat well. And
Mm-hmm.
again, as Denise was saying, a lot of the deaths are people that already are older or have respiratory problems, diabetes, cardiovascular problems. Just, it's not just a really super healthy person. They're even at this point, I saw where a student in Washington State at one of the colleges was keeping a tally, and his tally was showing about a 1% of the people that have been diagnosed with the coronavirus, you know, are die, but they also have underlying problems.
Hmm.
So
And
even though people are getting it, not everybody's dying from it.
mhm.
Again, you know, when we look at just our influenza, there are thousands of people that die of influenza. And these are the people with weak,
35,000 a year.
right. And these are people with weak immune systems.
And that's the
And yeah,
influenza virus.
huh, Denise?
That's the influenza virus, which they attempt to predict what's going to be the virus.
They're hyping up, you know, who's dying from it and
right.
what's happening. But it's really, when you put it in a perspective of the millions of people that live here on this earth, the billions, we're looking at something that really is not that significant right now.
It's the
But I
fear.
saw in my practice that this last couple of weeks, I've been treating people and the programs that come up to treat are influenza programs. I
Mhm.
treat them in a day or two, they're fine. So it's, you know, but they're scared coming in, is it the coronavirus, you know, and I think it's that fear then is just messing with their immune system also.
And going back to add to Denise, like pneumonia is something that most people most people who are medically fragile need to be concerned with. Pneumonia, like these are basic things that occur with elderly or medically fragile. And it goes back to that, Holly, of when we enter into a state of fear, but then again, look at what we have on the media. We have these biohazard suits. We have Beirut, the kids in Beirut getting sprayed as if I'm looking at this like as if we're treating them like weeds in our backyard. They're getting sprayed, their backpack, but that's got to cause more, the inhalation of those chemicals have to cause more damage than
Mhm.
Right, they're trying to.
exposure of the coronavirus itself. And so what we're seeing on this media is this, we're not coming at it from a place of logic and love. We're coming at it from this extreme fear. And look at our stock market is being affected by it, which,
Mhm.
you know, yay for me, I got to buy in more stuff, but not yay for the people who don't have the time to recover from this dip.
Mhm. Wow.
I like to jump in here. I
Go
think
ahead.
this is something that we've been working as health professionals, to we are working on optimizing our health, right? And when we speak about health, we talk about our physical health, but we also talk about our emotional health, right? We recognize that the news that we're getting about this virus is coming from a place of fear, right? We recognize this because we are in a space of healthy emotions, and we don't react well with things that are coming from us from that sort of place because of the negativity, and doesn't move us forward. Also, when we talk about our physical health, we talk about our immune system, right? If you know, we don't know, we know that the system, the world around us is full of very powerful, viruses and bacteria. So we make it a point to have as strong of an immune system as possible, right? So we're
Mhm.
getting our sleep. We are, we have our essential oils. We have our good nutrition, because for when things like this occur, we are in a better state to be protected from this. Why do we want $1 million, right? So when something happens, our house burns down or our car gets destroyed, we have those funds to pay for that. Well, it's the same with our health. Why do we want optimal health? So that when things like this happen, we're in a good position to be protected from this. So I think as a group, we have a good oversight over the situation because of where we're situated health-wise.
Well, that brings to mind then the next question. What I'd like to ask is, each of us from our area of profession, give your top 3 ways to boost the immune system? And I know we'll start with Denise and work our way down. By the time we get to Gus, of course, you're going to have to maybe stretch because everyone used all the ways. But I bet that there will be enough ideas, and I have some ideas too that I'll share.
You guys feel
afterwards.
free to get all the good ideas, so you don't have to leave any for me.
Okay, so Denise, your top 3 ways to boost your immune system. What would those be?
One would be antioxidants,
Okay. Like?
like what's in your fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
All those vital antioxidants in your greens, your yellows, your reds, the lutein, the zeaxanthin, lycopene. Those are all things that are just so important to help us strengthen our immune system, have healthy cells, and then also detoxification, where you're going to detoxify, get rid of all the free radicals, and once again, put the body back into balance. Then also number 3 is, exercising, getting out there in the fresh air or stretching or doing whatever you enjoy to further help with the circulation. And then of course the hydration that goes with that too, hydrating.
Okay. So you took 4 actually, Denise,
Oh,
but that's
4.
all right. Okay, Holly, what are your 3 top ways to boost the immune system? What would you add to what Denise said?
What I add, because I was going to say, nutrition, which is the fruits and vegetables, and organic. Make sure that you're doing organic as much as possible so that you're not being exposed to pesticides and herbicides and things like that. Water, yes, I have a water filtration system already, so I'm not running to the store buying bottled water, like freaking out, like I got to get some healthy water now. No, it's like I already have healthy water, so it's continuing to use that healthy water. I happen to have a Kangen system for alkalized water. And
Okay.
I'm another thing. So now I'm going to bring up, I was going to say also everything that you said, Denise, I was going to say, but I'm going to add something that's a little out of the box that I'm going to be doing this weekend. And that is a Lakota sweat lodge. I am going to a Native American sweat lodge where we go into a lodge and we sweat toxins out. And it's hot. And it's in ceremonial style so that you're in prayer the whole time and you're raising your vibration with song and like a worship almost. And so the detoxification again, but you can sweat in a lot of different ways. It doesn't really matter. You just need to sweat because that's how some of the toxins get out of the system.
Okay, very good. Okay, that added something substantial, definitely. Okay, Annie, and by the way, the what you mentioned about the sweat lodge also, there's an emotional component that it sounds like would help treat the fear aspect too. Okay, Annie.
I would piggyback on what Holly just said. The power of prayer for those that are religious, the power of prayer can do some amazing things that we don't know how to measure or understand. And the counter to that would be the spiritual side is the power of mindful meditation.
Okay.
That there have been enough studies with cancer patients that participated in studies where if they see the cancer as being something defeatable, they have a higher chance of going into remission versus those that saw it as something that was an aggressive or overpowering, overbearing image when they were meditating. And that would be the same with this, is if we see this as just being something insignificant that we can wipe away or zap away or whatever it may be, if we continue to do that we're clearing out our mind through meditation or prayer, we may not understand how it works, but we know that it works. Yes.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Yeah, we all are part of an extended family system too. There are other people in our lives, as was just demonstrated here, and that could bring a whole nother area of discussion here. Is in the context of the others around us. How do you respond? But let's continue on boosting the immune system. Michelle, what would be your three um, most important ways to boost the immune system, or ways that haven't been mentioned so far?
Okay.
Either way.
Well, I was going to mention, nutritionally speaking, avoiding foods that reduce your immune system. I think someone, maybe Holly said earlier, sugar is a big one, and packaged foods. So eating as much real food as possible and avoiding sugar. Lots of greens. You can get lots of greens into a smoothie. Just supporting, like Denise said, antioxidants, just getting all those colors, berries and greens into a smoothie every day. Just trying to eat as much color as you can and as little sugar and processed food as you can. My next one would be sleep. I think people underestimate the importance of getting a good night of sleep. People sleep a few hours, especially where we are in Las Vegas. People are on all kinds of crazy sleep schedules that are unnatural to the body. So just getting 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep, whatever you can. I use essential oils and I have a diffuser to help just get the right amount of sleep and get restful sleep so that your body can do the work it needs to do during the night, which is to repair itself. So sleep is important. And also, like I said, the essential oils. My daughter is floating in and out of the room, and so I have a diffuser going, and I'm killing bacteria and viral germs that are in the air, so that it doesn't spread around to those of us who are here. So she can also, we are acting as if we have a virus, in that we're taking extra vitamin C, using some essential oils that are antiviral, that can help to boost up the immune system. So that's another piece that I would recommend. Yeah, that's three, right? That was three.
That is very good, Michelle. Okay. And Gus,
Am I last, or do you go after me?
I'm going to go after you.
Oh
So
man,
I've got even a harder challenge.
yeah. I was going to take an easy way out, but I think it'll mess things up for you.
No, you just go ahead.
All right. So, I mean, I can't top anything that the lady said. Like I'm a fan of sleep. I'm a fan of nutrition. I'm a fan of the emotional component, and basically what we are, when we look at our 5 pillars, all we are is cranking up each one in order to get to our optimal health, right? So we're in a much better position to deal with these types of, of, of physical challenges, microbial, virus challenges, so that we be in a better space. The only thing I'm a fan of emergency. I don't know if that's the emotion, or just me taking something like, hey, shields up, I got my emergency. It
Okay.
seems to work for me. Even if people around me are sick and I take it, I feel protected. And if do become sick, I notice that I get out of it faster when I take emergency. And what's funny about it is, right, 1,000 milligrams vitamin C, right? Is what they say on the
An
box.
emergency is the supplement that comes in little packets. It's a vitamin C supplement for anyone who doesn't know what that is. And
Yeah,
you
I bought
get
like
it pretty much
96 packets for my team, just so we have it here, just in case.
Awesome.
And their big thing is that it's, hey, vitamin C, protect yourself from sickness. And what I'm finding out is there is no vitamin C. It's ascorbic acid, and it might be it's probably the acidity impacting the pH level that's helping you stay healthy, which I found very interesting. But that's the best I could add. Emergency. I'm a fan of it.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and add one that hasn't been mentioned, and that would be avoid any kind of substance abuse. If you're a smoker, you are impacting and weakening your respiratory system, which is one of the systems that is under attack with coronavirus, and so definitely, smoking, over consumption of alcohol would be something that could weaken your immune system. We have a situation, it's almost like the perfect storm in the United States where we have this opioid crisis. And at the same time, now we have this coronavirus that is out there, and I can only imagine that those who are impacted by opioids are going to have a weakened immune system for this. And so I would say it's very important. People take opioids, they get onto opioids in the first place, or overconsumption of alcohol or smoking. All of these are things people do in order to fill up an emptiness or to take care of a pain that is occurring, to I guess, deaden some kind of issue that is occurring. And so I'd say one of the best ways to strengthen your immune system is find healthy ways to deal with pain, to deal with stress. Um, for example, there are natural supplements that one can take to deal with pain instead of some of the over-the-counter supplements that people take that can actually be dangerous. And instead of opioids that we know are definitely dangerous. There are ways to deal with stress other than smoking or overconsumption of alcohol. I'm not, against alcohol, like taking, having a wine to relax. But when you're talking overconsumption, that is and dependency, what you're doing is you're compromising your immune system. So those things I would say are important. Exercise was mentioned, and sweating was mentioned, detoxification. And I can say that I just have to say a day in the wilderness, climbing a mountain, you're going to sweat, you're going to detoxify, you're going to get exercise, and you're also going to be in a situation where there's peace around you and lowering your stress. So definitely get out in nature. That's what I would suggest as strengthening your immune system. However, do it by gradual degrees. Don't just go out and climb a mountain and expect that that is going to heal you if you haven't worked up to it, because it could go in the other direction and weaken you. So, and you'll also sleep better. So those are some of my suggestions. I'd like to cycle back though, and we have been using some language that we understand because we're in the health community, but someone listening to this webinar may not understand so much. So I'm gonna ask some questions. I'm gonna go back to these things that we mentioned. I wrote them all down, and I want to start with antioxidants. And okay, so we mentioned fruits, vegetables, very, very good. And I understand that it's best to get your antioxidants from the direct natural source. But in this busy society, we may, it may be either easier, more convenient, more doable to take supplements. And so, um, I'll just put it out here to anyone who wants to answer. What are some of the best antioxidant supplements a person could take? If you just want to cover yourself with a few, um, what would those be?
Well, yeah, there are a number of them, on the market, that I've personally been involved with, and because I know that they are pure, they're well made, natural, they're sources where they come from, and they're also bioavailable, meaning that your body does absorb them fairly well.
Mhm.
And that's really what you have to look out for, or with the purity of it, how it's manufactured, if you can find that information. I've been involved with supplements where I do know how they're manufactured. So you really need to get the purest ingredients you can. And it's so important to get that combination of fruits and vegetables, because we really need a vast majority of them, because they all have different jobs to do in the body to help make certain organ systems healthier, like lutein for your eyes, lycopene for prostate and breast tissue. um, the list goes on. So,
Well, let's name a few of those.
well, a few of them would be super lutein. That's with the company Naturally Plus out of Japan. And that's an excellent, excellent product of your carotid, as we call them, carotenoids.
Mhm.
The pigments in your fruits and vegetables, along with fish oil and blueberry and bilberry extract. So those are very powerful antioxidants. And I've been to Japan, so I know how it's formulated. And it's in a gel cap, so it's absorbed very well. There's another product line that's very good too. It's called Juice Plus. Juice Plus is great because you have the gummies. People are able to, especially with children, they can chew them, and they're your fruits and vegetables. But then again, that's really all that's in them. So then you would have to probably take other things such as fish oils, and if you want vitamin D, magnesium, etc. So you do have to supplement with some other minerals. So I take a
I,
DNA guided supplement, which according to my DNA and what it has in it is a whole array of different fruits, vegetable extracts, as well as things that I need to get down inflammation, things that I need for weight control.
so it's a DNA guided supplement based on your
Yeah,
particular
that's based
DNA.
on my DNA.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, on different predispositions. So, like I said, once again, a lot of it comes from the fact that these products are, pure. I feel that they're very well made, and can really help people, versus taking a very type of vitamin, let's say a one a day, like a multivitamin, that
Mhm.
could be a very hard shell, very difficult for people to absorb. And there could
Okay.
be fillers in them, and also synthetic vitamin derivatives.
I may be wrong in this. I don't know. All I can say is from my personal experience, but one supplement that has helped me, and when I don't take it, I tend to get sick more often. and when I take it, I tend to never get sick. And I know this may sound a little strange, but it's a supplement called super lysine, and it's a combination of garlic and
Okay.
lysine.
Yeah.
And I take one of those a day, and then a couple a day if I feel like I'm compromised in any way, or I could be compromised. And it's really made a difference. There are a lot of supplements that I take that um, that I don't really know if they're doing any good, but this is one that I can almost tell it's going to really help me. And so,
Well, I would say with the super lysine also, I've seen this work really well with my grandchildren, especially my grandson who has cold sores a lot.
mhm,
And as soon as he starts to have the feeling of the cold sore, we amp up and give him high doses of that super lysine, and it never even forms. Well, you know, those type of cold sores can be viral.
mhm,
So super lysine is very good for viral also. But I'm with Denise. I do the DNA based nutrition,
mhm,
and I really there's not it's got like turmeric in it, which is very good for the
mhm,
immune system. Turmeric is excellent. But I'm someone DNA showed that my liver phase one liver detox did not work as well. So milk thistle works for me.
mm,
So my formula has milk thistle in it.
mhm,
So, it kind of, there's lots of different things that depending on what your DNA shows on how you absorb folic acid, say, or
mhm.
methylate folic acid, are able to use it. And maybe there's something else you need to take to help you methylate the folate, because that's part of your B vitamin group. And so, your B vitamins are, again, I would say also another source that I have used in the past that I think works really well is Dr. Gundry's red blend. It's uh, it's all these different types of fruits, and it's just taking the phytonutrients
Mm.
and giving you the phytonutrients. And so Dr. Gundry's a place to look, for if you want a good quality supplement.
Okay. Yeah, and what you said brought something else to mind too, is that I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed with my own body that some pain um, supplements work for me. Some that other people swear by do not work for me, and that tends to um, cause me to believe that you need that every person has a certain DNA structure that responds more to some supplements than others. And maybe Michelle, I know you're into this.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say something about, and I know some of you others are also, but like to hear from Michelle on this one. Tell us about how a person can find out what their DNA structure is so that they can take supplements or create a diet that is focused on their own particular DNA structure.
Right. Well, the DNA health and wellness tests that I do with my clients, they do tell you what percentage of protein, fat, and carbohydrates are optimal for your body. They also do tell you, that would be macronutrients. They tell you predispositions to micronutrient deficiencies, meaning micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. It's not a blood test, so it can't tell you if you are in fact deficient in those supplements. But if you do then go further and get blood work to show which of these predispositions is actually a deficiency, then you can go ahead and supplement where you need to and then save money on places you don't need to supplement. So you can find out what your body is doing as far as just tendencies, predispositions as far as deficiencies. So that would be an area that I would just send the person for some lab work and have them confirm which of those are actually deficiencies. So, and then I create the nutrition plan based on all of these things. What amount of macronutrients of each macronutrient is appropriate for that person. And also I find out what types of fats they can and cannot metabolize. So you can build a whole diet that's exactly right for your body and include the foods that your body wants and metabolizes well and eliminate the ones that it doesn't. I wanted to make a comment about the antioxidants too. I did a video this morning, so that was kind of a topic in my mind today, so it was good that you brought that up. My favorite way of getting antioxidants is still through food, because with a smoothie you can put so many colorful foods in and your body will take what it needs, and you don't have to worry about absorption. It's food, it's real, your body knows what to do with it. So the ones that I spoke about today were acai, which is a berry. It's low glycemic, it's just super high in antioxidants, very easy to find in your frozen food section. They make it even in a smoothie pack that you just open up and throw it right into the smoothie. The next one I talked about was pitaya, which is dragon fruit. The seeds of the pitaya dragon fruit have just some great essential fatty acids that we need, which are anti-cancer and helps with your cholesterol. So really good immune boosting super fruit. And then goji berries also. So like some really powerful properties in these colorful berries. And it's really easy to put all of them into one drink, and then your body can get what it needs. So I still love that way the most of getting good nutrition.
Okay, so your body can decide. Maybe you definitely you could get a DNA test, but in the absence of a DNA test, you just take something that's high in antioxidants, and your body will decide what's best.
Just flood your body with nutrition and all of those colors, and you can't go wrong.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we're about at the end of our time here, but it sounds like what we've done is we started out with coronavirus and we ended up with boosting the immune system. And it seems like no matter what else you do, if you boost your immune system, this is one of the most important things that you can do to protect yourself and the people around you. So thank you for your input, all of you in this. And definitely you can get in contact with any of our experts here if you're listening to this video and you hear something that you really want to pursue. Definitely contact me and I'll put you in contact with any of these people. But you can also Google their names. You see their names right here, and you just Google Las Vegas and the name of the person that's on here, and you'll definitely be able to get in touch. So thank you, experts.
There's just one thing I want to
okay.
people that do. When wearing masks, I think people should realize that if you are ill and you're sneezing, have a runny nose, whatever, and coughing, it's better for you to wear the mask, not the people that are not sick, because everybody's going out buying masks and they're calling up saying, what mask should I buy? But if they're not ill, then you don't necessarily have to wear one. I think it's a good idea at times if you do want to wear one, maybe because you don't want to be touching your face. Maybe that would be a way that you should wear a mask depending on where you're at. I'm going to be flying out in the next few days on an airplane. So yeah, I'll bring a few things with me, but mainly to sanitize and make sure I'm not touching my face and being aware of my surroundings, you know, if there's somebody hacking, coughing, sneezing, you know, and not taking the proper precautions like they should, like cover their cough, sneeze in their sleeve, etc. You know, so.
Are you going to wear a mask on the airplane?
I'm going to bring a couple of them that I have, and I don't know. I may. It just really depends on maybe who's around me. But I do have, you know, the sanitizer, and I've got some good wipes that I can wipe my, you know, the area with us around. So we'll just go from there. But basically, you know, just don't put your hands by your face and stuff. That's probably the toughest thing.
I used to kind of laugh when we go to a theater, my partner Darlene and I, and we go to a theater. She gets out this little spray thing of Lysol, and she'll spray down the seat of the theater, and it always it just was humorous to me, and I thought, oh, I'm a tough guy and I don't need to do that. But actually, she was on to something, and maybe that kind of thing is more important. And you were talking about spraying your area or wiping down your area if you're on an airplane seat, and you should see her when she goes into a hotel room.
No.
She will Lysol the whole place down. The beds, the chairs, everything. And it's like you think, well, they clean it there, but you know, yeah. Andy's saying no, they don't. So yeah, maybe being a little more fastidious. We have a no shoe rule in the house, because you think of you know, you're walking out with your shoes, and there are, you know, you're walking everywhere where there are germs, where people cough and sneeze. Those are all on the bottom of your shoes. You bring them into your house, and then now they're on your floor. You touch the floor, and yeah. So definitely, thank you for sharing that. That last part, Denise. And also, another thing that I've heard is that I'm like in the palace of protection here, because my partner is really made a life thing about cleaning things down. One thing that she said was that the hand sanitizer that you use may actually have chemicals that may not be healthy for you necessarily. So you put it on your hands, and then you pick up some food and you put it in your mouth. That may not be the best, but you can actually, and that some hand sanitizers are now, of course, anytime there's a need, the demand goes higher, the price goes higher. And she found, you know, you can't find hand sanitizer in the store right now. And she found like 8 little bottles were something like ungodly amount, $800 or something, and on Amazon. And so she also found that you can make your own hand sanitizer. And she found this recipe that includes vodka. So I don't know. There are a lot of do-it-yourself hand sanitizers that actually are safer than the chemical hand sanitizers that you get out in the market, and you're not going to have a lack of supply out there. Does anyone here know about do-it-yourself hand sanitizer?
I make my own wipes and hand sanitizer without all the chemicals. So, you know, especially if you're spraying stuff around, you're breathing in all that chemical stuff. So if she's going to spray Lysol, she should also wear a mask.
Okay.
And, you know, you can make your own and it's just as effective. So
what's your recipe?
Oh gosh, I can send it to you.
Oh yeah, send it to
Okay. We'll put it up on the webinar replay page.
Definitely.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let's go back to the
Excellent.
hand sanitizer. Has
Okay.
anyone watched people use hand sanitizer?
No.
They put the hand sanitizer in their hand, they rub it around, and then they immediately go and touch something.
Hmm.
Not allowing that, 18, 20-second period for it to
Oh.
dry off.
Okay, so there's a process that's important.
So psychologically, they're doing the right thing, but they're still sharing the germs because they haven't allowed it to dry.
Interesting.
Well,
Okay.
much like there's certain products that depending on what bacteria or virus that you want to get rid of, you have to leave it on the surface for so many minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to do now in the clinic after a person goes out of the room. We gotta like just, kind of hazmat it down and give it so many minutes.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And so, and I've heard that about washing your hands too.
Well, 20 seconds.
20
Yeah,
seconds,
yeah.
right? It's happy birthday twice.
Yeah, happy birthday. That's
Okay.
right. Happy birthday twice. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So the particular substance that you use is important, but also your process, how you apply it is important. And it sounds like washing for 20 seconds or when you put the hand sanitizer on, not touching anything for a while, leaving what is it, 20 seconds for it to just do its work, or is there a time?
I think it's 20 seconds. I forget what it says on the bottle, but it actually tells you the time on most
Oh, okay.
bottles.
Okay.
Like allow it to dry and then you can go and touch something. But
I never read that small print.
if you
That's
take a
interesting.
hand sanitizer wipe and you wipe down your shopping cart and then you throw it away and you go and you touch the wet shopping cart, the germs are still active on the shopping
Oh
cart.
my gosh. Okay. Oh,
Rather
well,
than letting it dry off and then touching the rail of the shopping cart.
okay. So what you're saying is that there are things that we feel like we're doing to take the right precaution, but maybe we're not doing it right and it's doing no good.
Right. So it's counterproductive.
Yeah, okay.
I
Okay,
got
well, Gus.
I wanted to do a pop quiz. So we're talking about the germs and the impact. The pop quiz is this: are we talking about germ theory or are we talking about terrain theory?
Tell us the difference between germ theory and terrain theory. I know you mentioned those words earlier, and I didn't totally catch that.
All right. So germ theory, the theory is that there are viruses and bacteria that are floating in the air or in an infected person, and when we come into contact with that virus or bacteria, we are then infected and we become sick. Where terrain theory, and I don't like the name of it, terrain theory means that when this bacterial viruses lands on this terrain, on this person, if the person has a strong enough defensive immune system, that there is no impact. But if the autoimmune system is not strong enough, weakened, is dealing with another issue, then this virus bacteria can have an impact and infect the person.
Okay, so what do we do with this knowledge, germ theory and terrain theory? How do we make it practical in our lives?
For now, at the very least, we want to understand which one we believe in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because, I believe in the terrain theory, and I see issues where it doesn't work. I believe that if I have my antioxidants, if I've had good enough sleep, my autoimmune is strong enough, I can walk into this room full of people with coronavirus and I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where someone who believes in germ theory doesn't feel that case. They say, hey, they're infected, I cannot go into this room, right? So different approaches on staying healthy. And what I'm seeing is that there's validity to both of them, right? But we just want to be at the very least aware of which one we're coming from, which we're believing more of when we're dealing with how we're going to handle staying healthy at the very least.
And
I would believe in the I believe in the terrain theory, and even if you don't believe in that, on the chance that it's valid, you should just boost your system and eat healthy and be that person with the healthy terrain so that you have a better shot at not getting sick.
Right. It's almost like it's advantageous to believe in both at the same time. You
I know.
know, get your sleep, take your antioxidants. If you're sick, stay away from me.
Well, yes, I think a strengthened immune system is very important, but we also have to say when we say coronavirus, there's a whole family of them. And there are some that we have had already, we have been exposed to, we built an immunity to. This is a particular strain that vast majority of people do not have immunity to it at all. So we are going to, if we do get it, you're going to get different degrees. And those are the people with the strengthened immune system. Yeah, you may get the flu and whatever its symptoms, but then people that are weakened have issues with it. So there you go.
And we've all heard of people that are carrying the coronavirus and they don't even know it. And so
Well, we can carry a variety of viruses and we don't even know what we're carrying. And we don't, probably because our body has seen it before, has built up some antibodies to it. And like with the MRSA, okay, methicillin-resistant staph in the hospital, they're actually healthcare workers, and it could be including myself too. I can just be a carrier of it because I've been in there for so long, but I'm not manifesting any problems. But if a patient can get it and they're debilitated, they're going to have a big issue.
Okay, so strengthen the immune system. It all goes back to strengthening your immune system. The best thing you can do. Okay, and any of these speakers here tonight, any of our panel can help you with ways to strengthen your immune system. So definitely encourage you to read up on it, become an expert, and apply your knowledge. Do at least something. If you do one thing, it's going to decrease the percentage of risk that you have. If you, for example, you sleep well, that's going to decrease your percentage of risk. If you eat fruits and vegetables, that will decrease your percentage of risk. If you sanitize yourself, that will decrease the percentage of risk. So you may not be able to do everything, and maybe you don't want to do everything all at once because then it becomes an obsession. But pick a few things that are the most important, decrease that percentage of risk, and that may be all that you need to do. So okay, enough. I don't know that I can add to this. We could go on forever, but thank you. Wow, I've learned a lot.